Help support the show by going to the Amazon.com search bar on footballsamerica.com when doing your online shopping. There are no charges to you, just support, and it will take you right back to the Amazon website. This month, Football's America podcast listeners will get free shipping on any order over $35 when they go to footballsamerica.com/Amazon. Again, that's footballsamerica.com/Amazon.
Hey everyone, this is Ron from Football is America, and we are inviting you to check out our website, footballisamerica.com. Catch up on all the shows and interviews right there.
We really would appreciate it if you check this out. We've had a lot of work put into it. We're very proud of our product. We really, really need you to get on there. Take a look at our links. Get on our GoFundMe if you got some spare cash you can throw at us. Check out our Amazon links. Check out our Audible links. We've got so many great things to give to you. Use that Amazon search bar when you're going to be buying on Amazon. It doesn't cost you anything extra. It'll take you right to the Amazon page as if you had searched through Amazon itself, because it is Amazon itself. It just helps us out when you come to make your purchase, and no extra effort is required on your part.
Yeah, a reminder that we do all of this for free, but it, unfortunately, is not free to do. So anything you can do to help us out would be great. Don't forget to also keep commenting, sending us those tweets, those emails, those Facebook comments, or berate us on Reddit. Without your interaction, we can't fix what you think is wrong or keep what is right. Let us know how we are doing, and you can always just get on there and tell Kyle he is horrible hellspawn and needs to go back to his creator, Lucifer.
I prefer to think of Mondo Jesus as my creator, but to each his own. We won't know until you hit that comment button. Get on there. Give us your thoughts, your opinions, your ideas. We really enjoy hearing them. I might berate you for it, but that doesn't mean we're not all having fun.
That's right. Hey, enjoy the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Football is America with Ron and Kyle. I'm Ron.
I'm Kyle. Hello.
And today we are also joined by our new writer, Scott Hull. Hey, Scott.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Now, Scott gets to be on the show through some sort of like Make-A-Wish Foundation, something, whatever, because he's in Kuwait, so at any moment he could be exploded or whatever, and it's like some kind of dying wish sort of thing to have him on the show or something.
It's not accurate at all.
I actually thought I was being punished, but that's nice.
Well, okay, sometimes the Make-A-Wish people mess up. I'm pretty sure that one of the kids with the whole Michael Jackson thing was through them. So, I mean, not the most spotless track record. That could be completely wrong, though. I don't know. I didn't
realize we were going to get into like personal history so soon, but I like it.
And then it comes out.
Well, for those of you joining us, this is our little schedule reveal special, as most of you know. Let's go ahead and get started here, guys. Let's see who has the hardest and easiest schedule. So first up, hardest schedule so far, I guess, is this.
Well, it's not so far. I mean, they announced the games, a month or two ago. So that's not new information, but people forget.
Right. So hardest schedule we got is the Steelers, who have an opponent's record of 147, 107, and 2.
Easiest strength of schedule will be the Atlanta Falcons, who have an opponent record of 104, 150, and 2. Interesting on my note, Tampa Bay, who, as we all know, placed dead last in the league last year, 29. So they have just about the easiest strength of schedule. Very favorable for them. So given their high draft selections, they could very well make a run at a playoff berth in the very apathetic NFC South.
And it's funny because 3 of the 4 teams in the NFC South are in the bottom 10 for strength of schedule, which is great for them, I guess, but it'll also be hilarious when none of them still make the playoffs because their division's horrible.
Well, and that's what it really comes down to, is your division. I mean, second easiest strength of schedule, the Colts. All right, well, who's right after that? The Texans. Why are the Texans behind the Colts? Well, they're probably not going to beat the Colts. That's about it.
with that, let's get into some games that are coming up this year that are the ones that I've kind of picked out. Nobody really did anything other than just punch their opinions in on here, but I picked out the games that I thought were the most interesting to start the year. So let's start with week number 1. I'll give this one to you, Kyle. It is the Bucks at the Titans. It's a very real possibility here. We could see both the number 1 and number 2 overall draft picks square off in week 1 for the first time in the Super Bowl era.
So which burns hotter, the tire fire or the dumpster fire? We will find an answer to this question in a hurry, as it seems. You got to go with the Bucks, I think, at least at this point, because the Titans are that special breed of terrible where you just, like, even with the number 1 overall pick, they would not improve enough to get even to 8-8, I think. It's very, very funny because my favorite team plays them twice a year. It actually closes out the year playing them, so that's fantastic. It'll be, like Ron said, very cool to see the number 1 and number 2 square off, but outside of that, not a whole lot of intrigue in this game.
To me, obviously, this is the 2 worst teams in the league, in my opinion, but the Titans were so bad last year that Jake Locker retired. How bad do you have to be as a franchise to where Jake Locker is saying, you know what, I'm good. I'm fine with that. So yeah, we may actually see Mariota and Winston play against each other. And the last time that happened, I would say the 2 teams they played for were arguably better than these 2 teams, and Mariota came out on top in that game. So I think, the Ducks-Knowles game from last year is a little bit of foreshadowing into how bad this game could possibly be. I don't know. If it were me, I would put my money on the Bucks simply because the law, probability says you can't be that bad for that long without accidentally winning a game. But yeah, that game to me has no real value in the sense of the season, but it would be fun to watch those 2 guys try. That should be fun.
And especially when you consider that Ken Wisenhunt, coach of the Titans, the last time he had success was when he was pushing Kurt Warner around, and he just motivated him the same way that all people from Iowa are motivated.
What? God. All right.
Hey, let's talk week 2, Ron. Week 2?
No, real quick before we move on from that, just a quick note. Lovie Smith and Ken Wisenhunt both took teams to the Super Bowl and lost.
Yeah, but when Lovey did it, it was way easier because it was the Bears. I mean, to lose the Super Bowl, rather, is what I meant.
Yeah, but he still had to get there. Like, he had to suspend the disbelief of the Bears being successful outside of Hurricane Ditka for a long enough time to get that belief going, like, we can do this. If you're the Titans or the Bucks, regardless of your coach, do you honestly at any point believe that either quarterback that you could possibly bring in does anything in the immediate future? I mean, we're talking about a Bucks team that started 3 different quarterbacks last year. They had McNown, whoever retired. And then they had the kid from NC State that, would have been decent if he hadn't had 3 different coaches in 3 years. And now they want to bring in, Jameis Winston, who by all outside perspectives looks like someone that's not the most intelligent person, but then he scores relatively well on his Wonderlic, and you just kind of wonder, will he be productive enough on the field and sheltered enough off the field to make a difference for a team that has been historically bad in the last half decade to decade time frame?
I compare him a lot to Vince Young outside of the Wonderlic test because Vince Young did horrible on that. But
he got a 6. That was amazing.
But if you look at Winston,
started it out with a 4 though.
Yeah, he retook it too and only scored 2 points higher. But Jameis Winston, I compare him a lot to Vince Young. I just think that you're getting yourself into trouble just right off the bat. So,
I mean, you remove the fact that they're both like black quarterbacks and the similarities end really quick. Jameis is a pocket passer. Vince Young was just a all male tequila party having running quarterback D-bag.
Spending $6,000 a week at the Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah. So, I mean, which is funny because Vince Young played for the Titans. So, I mean, if you're a Titans fan at this point, you've been through a lot. So if there's not a shelter or a support group for you, I say just give up football altogether and pay money to whoever your cable provider is, get the Korean channel and be a fan of like a StarCraft team or something like that, because it's probably less depressing.
Like, how pissed do you think the Titans fans really were when the NFL like revisited their blackout policy? Because no one's going to those games and yet they're still being forced to watch them. That's got to be depressing if you're in Nashville.
All right, guys, let's go on to week 2. Scott, we'll start with you. Cowboys at Eagles, week 2. DeMarco Murray is going to go back and play his old team. It's going to be a different type of scenario here because obviously he's not facing his replacement because they're both on offense. But ratings-wise, it's going to be great, and it's going to be probably fun for the Eagles because I don't foresee the Cowboys figuring out their run game that quickly.
Well, here's my thing. As far as I know, when DeMarco went to the Eagles, he didn't get to take his all-world offensive line with him. And let's make no mistake, the Eagles have a decent offensive line, but that was with Shady McCoy running behind him. He was basically a human joystick. DeMarco was running through holes that, we haven't seen since Emmitt Smith had in 95 when he was running through holes that trucks could drive through. So as far as I know, the number 1 draft pick, the rookie that Zach Martin didn't go with him, and the other 4 guys on the offensive line didn't go with him. So I actually see DeMarco struggling, but it's like everything with the Eagles. It's a big, huge question mark because who the hell knows what Chip Kelly's doing up there. And as far as McFadden, who I think is his replacement, goes, if he gets the same holes that DeMarco has, it'll be interesting to see how he hurts himself running through them because he's going to pull it off, but I'm just curious to see how he's going to do it.
I mean, I got to agree with Scott a lot on this one. Eagles fans are optimistic because they really believe in Butter Jesus out there, but I just don't see it. Like, he's had moderate success, but it's not like Andy Reid was terrible. Like, when we talked to Who's It's from the page with whatever, he was like, oh no, we all love Chip Kelly, and guys are writing books on Chip Kelly, and they're letting themselves be sodomized by Chip Kelly, and none of it is worthwhile. He's not doing anything that great out there. They're not winning any playoff games. And like you said, the offensive line is not going to be that amazing. The Cowboys offensive line will be fine. And they'll probably draft a decent to great running back and be like, yeah, this is why we let you go. We don't care. And Des Bryant is going to catch 9,000 touchdowns in this game just to prove a point.
Also in week 2, we have the Seahawks at the Packers. And this has turned into quite the rivalry every year. It seems like now they play each other pretty much every season. Packers definitely want to go back and they want to punish the Seahawks after the NFC Championship game last year. Lots of bad blood between them, dating all the way back to the replacement ref time. Kyle, go ahead and start us on this. What are your thoughts on that?
I love it. I love the rivalry. I like how there's a symmetry in this, in that the AFC has got a rivalry similar in the Patriots and the Colts. So these are like the top 4 teams really fighting it out, and I love that aspect. It's always a bit of a letdown, the fact that we can't see this game be played on a neutral field to really see who is the better team, just point blank. Given the Packers have a home field advantage, it's going to help them. I think that playing early on, maybe not as much as they'd like because everybody's still going to be healthy and there's not going to be that weather factor that they excel in. I don't want to pick a winner here because it's tough, other than to say give that home field team the 3-point advantage. Other than that, it's going to be a beautiful game to watch. That's about all I can say on that.
Yeah, I like this game for all the reasons that pretty much anybody would like this game. But for me, the first game of the year and the second game of the year and probably even the third and fourth are going to come down to which team is conditioned better coming into the regular season. And for me, at the quarterback position, it's not always about, physical conditioning. I think that Aaron Rodgers will show up a little bit sharper than Russell Wilson just because of their varying styles of play. But I mean, last year that wasn't the case at all. So maybe who the hell knows what I'm talking about. I just think it'll be great to watch Packers fans sit in the stands in warm weather, where their blood hasn't slowed to like a slow crawl between freezing temperatures and like 20 pounds of cheese curds that they eat while they try to, scream and watch their players make a jump that none of them could make. I don't understand how the Lambeau Leap is a thing. If none of the fans can do it, it shouldn't be allowed. Like, none of their fans have any ability to do anything
their
athletic.
Fans
and yet
bleed cheese. They don't have, it's not possible. The only reason J.J. Watt is good, the Wisconsin boy that he is because they took him down to Texas where there's no cheese and they just blood transfusioned him to success.
Well, it's worked because he's amazing. As far as I'll pick a winner in this game, I am high on the Packers early, middle, and late in this season. I really like everything they do. If Eddie Lacy comes in any kind of shape other than with no sharp edges, I think they'll be like really good. But he's got a propensity to come in fat. The Seahawks, to me, their defense obviously is phenomenal, and that's where the Packers lack. But I'd say at home in week 2, Aaron Rodgers and the Pack might probably get that done, much to the chagrin of Ron and every other person in the NFC North. So I would take the Packers there. I wish they could play it at a neutral field because there's nothing I like better than seeing the Packers score and then watching their 175-pound cheerleaders dance. I love it. So, if they could just get on a neutral field to maybe where we could have some decent fans, that'd be cool.
Also to note here is that Aaron Rodgers plays his worst games against Seattle. Mike McCarthy coaches his worst games against Seattle, and Russell Wilson also plays his worst games against the Packers. Now, it's been a while since the Seahawks have played in Lambeau, and I don't think that Russell Wilson has actually done it yet, if I'm correct. So,
no, I think he did that one Fail Mary game.
The Fail Mary game was in Seattle. I know that for a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Well, whatever. I don't care.
All right, guys. So let's go on to week 6. Patriots at Colts. This one is a favorite for Kyle. I'm going to let you go ahead and start on this one, Kyle. It's Scott's turn, but I'm going to let you pull this one in. You're the Colts fan. So this is another annual disappointment for you, most likely. Can they actually do it this year?
I'm of kind of the mindset of the majority of sports writers and sportscasters, which is the Colts have the success to do it, but you bet on the Patriots until the Colts actually use that success and get over the hump. Playing at home, big factor. Week 6 is in the Chuck Pagano, Andrew Luck area. That's when this team gets hot. Right around week 4, they start to turn it on, figure out what they're doing. Week 6 and 7 is their best level of football. So I hope that that'll play a factor, especially because who wins this game is probably going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. And the Colts need that home field advantage if they even think they can take on Tom Brady in the playoffs. Unfortunately, to this point, Bill Belichick has proven that he can not only beat the Colts, but beat them embarrassingly badly using the exact same game plan over and over. So when you don't even have to scheme against your opponent, you just, they know what you're going to do and you know it, and you just go out there and execute. That's awful. So right now I'm picking the Patriots by 14. The Colts haven't made any impressive move on the defensive line, at least to enough of an extent to make me think they can hold back the run game. So I want to believe in the Colts, but I have to give it to the Patriots right now.
Yeah, I'm going to go the other way on that. I think it's the year of the Yeti. I got to say, Andrew Luck, the Colts haven't made that many impressive moves in the offseason, but what has happened is Andrew Luck's matured one more year, and I think you'll see the same kind of exponential growth you saw with Peyton Manning when he was going through his first few years. And to be fair, the Patriots lost Darrelle Revis, so without him out on the field doing his normal shutdown of one wide receiver, that just opens up another, quadrant of the field for Andrew Luck to go to. I'm big on the Colts this year. I love the way Andrew Luck plays. I love everything about him. I think he is the best quarterback, if not the best, in the top 3 quarterbacks in the league right now, both from a mental
I'll
and
give you
physical.
A top 3.
Yeah, he's in the top 3. To say he's the best, he would need to win a couple more playoff games and maybe a Super Bowl for me. But mentally and physically speaking, if I was going to build a quarterback, I would probably build something very similar to Andrew Luck. And this might be a little bit of Patriots hate, but if they could lose every game, I would be cool with that. But obviously that's not going to happen. But I don't see them winning the week 6 matchup against the Colts. Belichick and Brady be damned. I think the Colts are going to take it.
I will say there are a lot of things that lean to the Colts' favor. Like I said, week 6, they play their best. Well, that's when everybody's healthy. Andre Johnson, he's still got a little left in him. They'll push him to do his best that game. T.Y. Hilton is going to want to prove a point. Dante Moncrief, he's up and coming. You got Duron Carter. He's going to be used in this game, I think, at least a little bit, maybe not a lot. So the Colts definitely have weapons to use here, and they're probably not going to be dealing with the injury bug just yet. But, I mean, it's one of those where mathematically, on paper, the Colts win. But just from what I've seen, I I'm not willing to lend myself out to that kind of heartbreak again, because then I'm just fat girl eating ice cream. Stood up for prom. What happened? Okay. Ben and Jerry, you're my only friend.
Also, you should note that not only did Revis leave, but Browner left as well. So
you're not going to get me to say that I think the Colts are going to win, because then I'm just going to be crying into that pint of ice cream, and you're going to call me up and be like, oh, what's going on? Yeah, you are pretty ugly. No wonder why Chad went to the dance with Melissa.
Let's go ahead and move on then on that. Jeez. Week 9.
That came from a deep, dark place.
I know. I worry about you sometimes, Kyle. You need to step back from the ledge a little bit. Week 9, we have the Bills at the Jets. This is going to be Rex Ryan's big return. Scott, go ahead.
Who the hell cares? Who the hell? Rex Ryan. You know what? If he's not my defensive coordinator, then who honestly cares? Who is the Jets starting quarterback? Are we talking Michael Vick? Are we talking the kid from West Virginia whose name I still haven't learned because he's in his 3rd year and has done less than Mark Sanchez? When you do less than Mark Sanchez as the Jets starting quarterback, you have accomplished something, because take away the 2 defenses he had at the start of his career where they went to the AFC title game and he did not. I could have played quarterback for the Jets that year. Rex's return to New York is, the most pointless thing I've ever seen. He's still in New York. We say his return to New York. Buffalo is in New York. That's how bad of a place Buffalo is. That offense that Buffalo has, it would be good if they had a quarterback that could count a potato, but since they don't really, I don't see this being much of a game. I think the Bills will win. I don't think that Rex has anything to do with it whatsoever, because you can have the greatest coach in the world. I just don't see the Bills having that many pieces. They just gave away the linebacker they gave away Kiko, who was, they were getting him at a discount, and instead they got back an over the hill running back with like a huge contract. So that was a sweet trade, whoever pulled that one off. But yeah, man, who the hell cares is where I'm at with Rex Ryan. Put up or shut up. All he does is, he talks in press conferences and loses games. And if that's what you're getting paid to do, then I am going to be a coach within the next 5 years, because I think I'd be really sweet at it.
I kind of got to go the opposite way. Not that I care about Rex Ryan, I don't, but I just think that, okay, maybe the Kiko Alonso price versus Shady McCoy. Yeah, I can see the trade value not working out exactly right there. That's fine. But given that the Bills have a pretty stout defense already and nothing on offense, they needed something. And so to have Shady McCoy back there, that'll be a huge, huge leg up for him all year, at least if he wants to play right. I don't know. And the Jets, they've got talent on wide receiver, but as you said, nobody to throw to him. They've got some talent on defense, but it's, I don't know.
Look at Rex Ryan defenses when they don't have the corners he needs to play his defense. Who are the Bills corners that are going to play the same way that a Revis played, or, even a Cromartie played? Who are these guys that are going to shut down that quadrant of the game so that his bear defense that his dad made up can take the inside of the offense away? I just don't see it. I don't think the Bills they have a great front seven. I just don't think they have the peripheral pieces to shut down the big players on the outside. Not that the Jets have any of those, or nor could the guy get the ball to him if they did. But in this game, the Bills may get away with it, but I just don't see the defensive pieces on the outside of the field covering wide receivers and covering slot guys to make up for their deficiencies. I just don't see it. And, all Rex Ryan can do is, implement his system and see how it goes. And who knows, maybe Mario Williams will turn in 15 to 20 sacks, and we'll see how that goes. But until that time comes, I don't see them having the corners to cover anybody. But like I said, the Jets don't have wide receivers, so let's, cross that bridge when we come to it.
Well, 9 corners. That's what they have on the roster. 9.
Let's just agree.
Do we know any of them?
We have the ones that I know, but I am in depth into the rosters a lot more than most people.
He says as he stalls for time.
Corey Graham, he's going to probably end up being a safety rather than a corner. Mario Butler, Ron Brooks, and Stephon Gilmore are probably going to be your starters, with Mario Butler being the guy that plays the slot. He's the smaller guy. So
for real? They have Gilmore? Because I always heard Gilmore Island was a hard place to get off. Said no one ever.
How often does he have to deal with being called Gilmore Girls? Look, let's just agree. In this game, the highlight is going to be when a fan at like the mid-tier level chucks a D battery at Rex Ryan and it hits him right in the neck.
All right, so also in week 9, we have the Broncos at the Colts. This could be Peyton's last chance to win an Indy. Kyle, yes or no?
It really kind of has so many factors in it. We were both at his return to Indy, and while he lost that game, he played pretty well. But you could also tell that the emotion was getting to him, that the little factors were getting to him, that Jim Irsay stirring up the media and talking about what a butthole Peyton Manning was got to him. And that's not going to happen this go-around. However, that being said, the last time Peyton Manning was in Indy, he was having the best year a quarterback ever had in the NFL. That ain't happening this year. So, as Scott already said, Andrew Luck is on the up and up. Most people are already looking at this kid as like the number 2, possibly number 3 if you want to put Brady ahead of him. You know, they're pretty interchangeable for that 2-3 best quarterback in the league. I don't see the Broncos winning this one. I think that the home fans are going to come out, give Peyton his respect, but just like last time, they're going to get in his head. They're going to shout. They are going to make a lot of noise because as much as they love him, they know that hating him is the proper respect to give him when he's on the field now. And I think that'll be just enough to keep the Colts ahead.
Yeah, I again, Kyle, I got to go the opposite way with you on this one, man. It's a regular season game. So I got to think Peyton knows how to win that one. You know, he hasn't won back in Indy since he's left, but he has won a lot while he was there. I think he'll get a week 9 win here against the Colts, even as much as I love Andrew Luck and I like the Colts to win the South this year, but I would argue whoever's defense decided to play marginally better than a high school team this game is going to win that game. But I see Peyton Manning winning at least one, walking away, and I don't see the Colts really taking that much of a hit because he does. I think by the time the Colts play the Broncos in week 9, they'll be at least 3 or 4 games over 500 by that point, to include that win that they should have gotten week 6 against Tom Brady and the Patriots. But yeah, I think Peyton's going to get at least one win in Indy before he walks away, and maybe him and Jim Irsay can go do a line of coke off of his limo or whatever. I don't know how he rolls anymore, but he was a lot cooler when he wasn't sober.
Yeah, that's true. I got to give you that. You make a lot of valid points. I think on this one, it does kind of come down to, like you said, who shows up. If the Colts show up with the intensity that they had, you know, in that playoff game against Peyton Manning, with the mentality of, you will not beat us. We do not want you to go ahead. We just cannot stand the thought of losing. They got a shot. If Andrew Luck comes out with the mentality of, I have taken your spot. This is my team now. You will not beat me in my house. Because if Andrew Luck loses to Peyton here, that's the last time it'll happen here. And he doesn't want to have that being the lasting memory of Peyton Manning beating him at his house. I think this is going to be a game in which Andrew Luck goes off because he's got to live with that the rest of his career as it is. I think he wants to be 2-0 against Peyton in Lucas Oil.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there. I'm sure he probably does, but I don't know. I see both quarterbacks throwing at least for 350 in this game. I don't see any kind of defense. It may come down to who has the ball last, but, you know, for me, Peyton Manning, this is his swan song season. Please, God, let it be his swan song season. I don't think I can stand another, 16 weeks of watching him hobble around and getting killed anytime the protection's not right. But I think in week 9 against the Colts, he's going to walk out of there with a win, and it's going to be fine for everybody. I think Andrew Luck is going to have enough of a career to extinguish the sting of losing to one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time and the best quarterback in Colts history, in week 9 of his 3rd time playing him. So I think, or 2nd time playing him, I think it'll be fine. But yeah, I think Peyton's going to walk out of there with a win, probably.
Let's go ahead and go on to week 11, guys. We have the Broncos going to the Bears as well, kind of sticking with this Broncos theme. John Fox is going to be able to take on the team that dumped him after basically just failing to get to the Super Bowl.
Do you want to do this one in the quick one-off sentence, or you want me to do it, Scott?
Go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, all right, because I know what you're going to say. It's what we're all going to say. Ron, I'm not going to be mean about it, but the Bears have Jay Cutler.
Correct.
And I love John Fox and Adam Gase, and they're doing the right sort of thing there, but they have Jay Cutler and they're playing Peyton Manning and Von Miller and yeah.
Well,
we can go on to the next one.
Hold the phone there, Kyle, because, when Cutler played for the Broncos, he didn't throw it to them much. So it may be instinctually embedded in him not to throw it to Broncos players. You may not see his normal 3 picks.
Okay, but then the ball just hits the dirt instead of actually being caught by a bear because his default setting is, all right, don't get the look I want. I'm just going to throw it up really high and wish upon a star.
How pissed do you think John Fox had to be? I mean, he went to what? I think he went to he made the playoffs every year. He went to the AFC title game last year and he went to the Super Bowl the year before that and got blown out. But I mean, it wasn't for a lack of good production on the field. And then they just dumped him off on the Bears, which I think the Bears are going to be a much better team under John Fox just as soon as they can get Jay Cutler off the field. Just you gotta bench it. He's got to go to the bench. He hasn't won at any level, high school, college, or the pros. Just put him on the bench, and maybe he won't throw as many picks from there. I can't, say for sure. And the Bears may have a shot. I doubt it. I got to take the Broncos 100% in this game.
The Bears will be better this year, but not enough better to beat the Broncos, it seems.
The Bears will play better. I think they'll be more competitive. I don't think they're going to have a better record. I honestly think their record's going to be worse. You can't play the AFC West and the NFC West and expect for them to have a better record than what they did last year. It's just not going to happen. There's a lot of pessimism there. There's a lot of discontent there. There's a lot of disappointment.
But reality.
But like you said, reality. Yeah. So let's move on.
Yeah, I mean, and that's enough for a lot of people. If you lose a game in which your players played well, your skill level just isn't there, that's fine. People can hold their head up high leaving the stadium like, hey, we lost by 4. That happens. That's all right. Our guys gave it their all. You don't want to go out there and be like, wow, Jay Cutler threw so many picks. I got to the point where I just, like when the Bears offense takes the field, that's when you get up to go to get a snack. That's a problem.
Let's go on to week 12. We have the Patriots going to the Broncos. This will most likely be the last time we see these two guys face off, which has become kind of a annual treasure, I guess, for the football fan community.
Yeah. How happy do you think that Tom Brady is knowing that the best 2 quarterbacks of his generation, that legacy, that game is against Peyton and not Eli, who, like an idiot savant, seems to have Tom's number. This game, this is what, as a football fan, you love to see. You love to watch the 2 best quarterbacks that, at least in my lifetime, that I've ever seen. They've put together these careers that, spanning 15, almost 20 years. They've been the class. And even though if Tom Brady never throws another touchdown, that would be fine with me. But you got to give him his due. He's got 4 Super Bowl titles and, he's been one of the best quarterbacks to ever have played the game. And so for me, this game, it's, whoever wins this game, they're probably going to be 1, 2, or 3 in the AFC. I would imagine both those teams are probably making it to the playoffs. But as a fan, this is going to be one of those games where you might just want to sit down, grab a beer, eat some pizza, and just enjoy watching 2 just masters of their profession go at it one last time and just get to chill and kind of enjoy that moment, because we may never see something like this again, or if we do, it probably won't be for another decade after the younger crop of quarterbacks that we have now have cultivated their own legacies. But this is going to be one of the best games of the year, just from a quarterbacking standpoint, for sure.
I agree with you. And I also want to add that, as you had brought up earlier, the Patriots have lost a lot of strength on their defense, especially at corner. That definitely is a good look for Peyton. We always get that misnomer, oh, Tom Brady beats Peyton Manning. No, Bill Belichick beats Peyton Manning. Bill Belichick would beat Peyton Manning without Tom Brady. He's good, as it turns out. So having the Patriots defense weakened is great. I hope the Broncos win. I hope that if Tom Brady does throw a touchdown this year, it's by way of a pick 6. And I got nothing else. This will be a great game. It'll be a lot of fun to watch. And if you're missing it, there's something wrong with you.
All right. Also in week 12, we have the Bears going to the Packers on Thanksgiving. And it has been announced that they will retire Brett Favre's jersey on that night. And will just be another. It says here annual disappointment for me, but let's be honest, it's going to be a dual disappointment for me next year.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the one when they go to the Packers, that's so much worse for you. Actually, no, you know what? When they play at Soldier Field, that one always makes you a little bit angrier because it's like, all right, home game. Come on, crowd. Let's get into a frenzy. What that? How many touched it? So, yeah, they're going to make a big deal about Brett Favre, and they're going to completely ignore the fact that, he sends weird photos of his genitals to smoking hot women. I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I don't get it, but it's like you're worth how many millions and you're sending a photo of your... She can get that anywhere. Go ahead and send her a diamond or something. God damn, you're stupid.
I am legitimately concerned that Ron is going to set some kind of world record at Thanksgiving this year for amount of food consumed in just pure disappointment. Like the binge eating that you're going to do as they retire Favre's jersey with the Packers up by 30 at halftime is just... I want to be there. I want to be there for you. I want to be there with you. I want to be there when the guy from the Guinness Book of World Records writes it in his little notepad that you have set some kind of shame-eating record. I don't think the Bears have a shot at Soldier Field, much less at Lambeau. And on Thanksgiving, when it's starting to get nice and cold and everybody's excited for turkey, Ron, happy early Thanksgiving, my friend, because the Bears are just going to, if the Packers lose this game, Ron, I'll do anything you want. Everything that you used to say that you dreamed of, you can have it, my friend. I'll send you a Brett Favre pick if you want. Like, seriously, the Bears have no shot in this game, and watching them retire Favre's jersey is like a spit in the face to all Bears fans, and I just think it's the best thing that they could have possibly done, and I'm just so unequivocally happy that they made that decision. I just think it'll be great knowing that there is two quarterbacks in that stadium that could theoretically start for the Bears, and they're both Packers. That's going to be amazing.
Bears haven't beat the Packers in Lambeau as long as Aaron Rodgers has been starting football games for the Packers.
But hey, you've got that lifetime win-loss record over him, don't you, champ?
Yes, still do.
Yeah, okay, so see how he's starting to sound happy? Like, yeah, that matters. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. But in any case, hey, Packers playing their first home game on Thanksgiving since November 29th of 1923. Obviously been a while. I love, like you said, they want to make a big deal of this Brett Favre thing, as much television publicity as you can. Obviously, Thanksgiving, everybody's got the day off. Everybody's watching football. Brett Favre's going to be there. They're going to make a huge deal of it. Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre are going to have a little emotional moment. Aaron's going to go out there and torch the Bears, and the Bears just have to sit there and take it.
I'm legitimately concerned that Ron's going to begin to himself, and it's just going to be gravy. He will have eaten himself so deep into depression that when he ultimately does decide to take the final step when the game ends 42-7, that it'll just be gravy, and it'll just be this comatose anger look on his face that everyone's come to love. And I wish I could be there for it. I truly do. But yeah.
I just had a great thought. You know what would make this night even better? Ron, you know what would make it better? Ron?
Yeah.
Ron.
Yes.
Ron.
Yes, Kyle.
You know what would make it better?
No.
I know what would make it better. What would make it better is if they, for some reason, had Mike Ditka there.
Well,
so he's just standing there like, oh, okay, here's Brett Favre, super happy, single tear, cut to Mike Ditka, and he's just nodding and clapping. And then it's like, oh, there's the last little bits of the happy canteen splashing out on failure cheese.
Somebody runs up and does the thing from Jackass where they shave their head, except he does it to his mustache, and Ron just breaks down. God, that would be great.
All right, guys. All right.
Or wait.
Come on.
And then Mike Ditka has a stroke. He has a stroke or a heart attack, and it's like, Brett Favre's jersey retired, Mike Ditka dead. Bears lose 88-0.
All right, so week 13. All right. We have the Jets facing off against the Giants in a hometown battle royale, and this one will be most interesting with Revis up against Odell Beckham Jr.
I got Odell Beckham Jr. going off for 175 in that game. I don't have
Hell
many,
yeah.
I don't have many more comments after that. OBJ is the nastiest wide receiver that I've seen in the last maybe 5 years coming out of college, and what he did last year in 12 games was the most ridiculous thing. And I don't want to say Revis has lost a step, but when you're going against somebody that fast that seems to catch everything, I mean, he is the like northern African coast of catching footballs. Like everything that can be caught, he's catching. It's an epidemic how much stuff the OBJ catches. It's amazing. And Revis, if OBJ doesn't go off for 150 to 175 and 2 touchdowns, I'll be shocked. And I'm going to blame it on Eli regardless if that doesn't happen. But I think OBJ is going to eat Revis up.
Kyle?
Sorry. Hang on one sec. Ended up getting hiccups. Couldn't even talk.
I can keep vamping. I mean, I don't think I had OBJ all the way in my mouth there, but I can try harder.
No, we're going to double team him. He loves us both. Yeah, Odell Beckham is very exceptional. That is more than obvious. He's fun to watch. He's hard to play against. Teams seem confused by him. Eli Manning is having a little bit of a resurgence, all thanks to Odell Beckham. I think the Giants win half as many games, not just because of his play, but because of the motivation. Like when you got a guy out there doing the crap that Odell Beckham was doing, all of a sudden the defense is like, man, I am happy to be out here today. This is going to be awesome. I am going to see some things. This is cool. That motivation is massive. I think the Jets don't have enough on offense to really threaten the Giants too bad. And Tom Coughlin, he's got to get all of his wins in while he still has blood flowing through his veins.
All right, guys. So week 14, we have Bills at Eagles. This will be the last one that we kind of go over. LaShawn McCoy is going to be returning to Philly, to the team that basically dumped him for a linebacker and a couple of picks.
It's not going to be super duper exciting. I mean, that storyline's going to be hyped up because it has to be. But by this point, the narrative of the season will pretty well be established. We'll know who's likely to head into the playoffs and who isn't. Looking at the breakup of the AFC, the Bills are not going to be that team. It's highly unlikely that the Eagles are going to be that team. So at this point, they're probably just playing for pride or for hope, maybe for hope. But I doubt that either one of them has a playoff spot locked at this point. And so there could be some very exciting football to be watched, but I don't get excited about Chip Kelly's stuff. I honestly don't get the fascination with him. Ooh, he ran a one-of-a-kind offense at Oregon. Look, when you go ahead and hold up a picture of a cup of coffee and a dog having sex with a cat, I don't know what the hell that is, but that's not play calling. It's the kind of stuff that gets you thrown out of the Met.
What are you talking about?
Have you not seen their play cards? There is literally 3 guys on their sideline holding up they play Pictionary to call their plays. No one knows what they're going to call. That's why they're so effective. The offensive line doesn't know. The quarterback doesn't know. It's like a palsy punch. Like you don't know where it's coming from, and neither does the guy throwing it. Like it's just, yeah. And here's my prediction for the Bills-Eagles game. Tim Tebow is going to have more yards than LaShawn McCoy rushing. Just throwing that out there. I think by that time, Tebow will be starting, and the joystick will be hurt because he has nobody to run behind. Fred Jackson's going to be the starting running back for the Bills. I don't think this will even be a storyline in Week 14.
Wow.
You really do not like LaShawn McCoy, but that's fine.
No, leave another zero tip on a $120 bill. No, I don't like him very much.
Douchebag.
That's a very disproportionate level of rage, but all right, that's, it's the thing. It's not like he whooped his child in the or anything like that, but that's cool. It's
Wow.
that happened. I'm not a terrible person. Friggin' Adrian Peterson's a terrible person. Or actually, it's Tom Brady for his voodoo curse. Thank you, a la Aaron Hernandez.
All right. London games, guys. All these games are going to be played.
I wasn't done.
Well, you are now. All right.
Got so out of hand so quickly.
All these
games. You haven't heard the newest show. Wait till you hear the newest show.
All the games played at 9:30 Eastern Time in the United States. We have Week 4, the Dolphins versus the Jets. Week 6, we have the Bills versus the Jaguars. And Week 8, we have the Lions versus the Chiefs. And this will be the second year in a row that the Lions have gone to London.
Like the Lions and Chiefs. That's interesting. Oh, wait, no, the Lions lost in Ndamukong Suh. Yeah, no. Less interesting. And also, Calvin Johnson seems to be getting worse year by year due to injury and whatever else he's doing. I don't know. Dolphins Jets is almost interesting. I just feel bad for the people of London. Like, they get the Jaguars every year and they hate it. Like, they're not like, oh, well, this is our team. They're always here. They're like, could you give us somebody that isn't terrible? Could we not get Blaine Gabbert 2.0 running around out here? You know, something.
I always thought the NFL gave them the Jaguars just so that they wouldn't be overwhelmed by the scoring differential between their football and ours. Like, you know, you got to figure in a soccer game, if it ends 3-0, they're used to that. So I always figured, you know, hey, let's throw them the Jaguars. We'll ease them into the American football thing. I actually love these London games because where I'm at, I get to watch them during the middle of the day like a normal person. I don't have to become an insomniac to watch football. I love the Dolphins-Jets game. I think that'll be a very entertaining game in London. And, if for no other reason than the English people, the population in London will get the chance to watch Dominic and Sue do basically what we would consider a felony to someone. I can't guarantee it's going to happen, but the odds are in his favor of that actually happening. But as far as the Jaguars go, somebody's got to cheer for them. Why not give, England a little payback for that whole, revolution thing that they were always talking about. So I like that we give them the Jags. Someone has to cheer for them, and the people of Jacksonville don't have enough money to actually go to the game. So it's a welcome change for the Jags to have 6 to 8 fans in the stands.
I do have this thing with British people where they like to constantly rip on America, and I don't know about anybody listening. If you've had a chance to talk to a British person often, when they call you a colonial, them's fighting words. I don't know why, but that's just like, what'd you say? Are we about to do this? And it gets real really fast. But for me, I'm not a fighter. I'm an asshole. And so I say horrible things. And that's why I think the Jaguars, in a sense, it's like a just punishment. It's like, Britain, you were bags first. All right. Here's your punishment. You watch the Sparkle Kitties be terrible. You could make the argument, hey, how do you get Europe interested in football? Watch a really good team pound a terrible team. But then it's like, why not make it like, the Patriots playing the Jaguars, or, like the Packers playing the Titans? That would be good. Make it terrible against a really great team, so it's super one-sided.
You know what I find amazing is I think the guy that owns the Tampa Bay Bucks also owns like Manchester United or some huge soccer team over there.
No, that's the Jaguars.
Is it? No.
Shad Khan.
Is it? I always thought that it was the guy that owned the Bucks. Okay, well, then my point is no longer valid, and I feel stupid for having brought it up. But I just noticed that we give them these teams. You never see the Packers going over there. You never see, you don't see the teams that people actually care to watch. We just kind of send them the scraps. It's like, it's kind of like how they did with us with Simon Cowell. Like, they just didn't want him anymore, and they just gave him to us. I think that's kind of what we're trying to do with the Jaguars. Because I mean, if I was stuck in Jacksonville or London, I would be looking for a tornado or a hurricane or whatever the hell they have in London to take me anywhere other than that place if the Jaguars were around. I couldn't name you 5 guys on the Jaguars, and that's not because I don't know anything about football. It's because I purposely forgot all the players on the Jaguars' names. I just can't with them anymore. I'm from Florida, and there's just nothing good. I'm confident that the Jaguars versus the Gators would be a scoreless draw.
I just tried in my head to name as many Jaguars players as I can, and Ron and I get pretty dialed in on this stuff because we do it all day, all the time. But the Jaguars gets a little press. I came up with, Blake Bortles, and it's like, okay, what else, dummy? Cecil Shorts?
Cecil Shorts.
No, he's gone. And I think Justin Blackman's still in jail or something. So I would challenge you to name more than 5 people on the Jaguars.
I can name 5.
My stepbrother can do it, but he's a drug addict.
I can't name 2.
I can name 5. That's easy. Would you like to hear them?
Yeah, let's hear it. I challenge you. Let's hear it.
All right. You have Blake Bortles. All right. You have Justin Todman, or Jason Todman, whatever he is, running back. You have Alan Branch, defensive end. You have Paul Puslunny, yes,
Toby Gerhart.
Toby Gerhart.
The amount of time that it took for you to name those 5 players, who I'm not entirely convinced are on that team, it gives credence to what we were trying to say. Like, I couldn't name you 5 guys on any European soccer team, but I don't watch European soccer. I watch football, and I couldn't name you 5 guys on the Jaguars. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was not entire. I mean, you got him, Ron, but you got him with the speed of somebody who's looking it up on Google.
All right. Well, I'm not Googling, but let's go ahead and move on to the new flex rules that the NFL is going to be implementing this year. New rules will allow the NFL to flex games starting now in week 5. Previously, it was week 10 through 15, and then week 17 were the flex weeks. That was the earliest they could get going. Now, weeks 5 through 10, they can have up to 2 games flexed. They have to give 12 days notice for all of those games. The only exception being week 17, where they only have to give 6 days notice due to it being the final week of the season. And there's a lot of different types of things that can happen that have playoff implications. So now you'll have the ability to get basically for them to bump your game. So if you suck that bad, by week 5, that they're going to kick you.
Good. How often last year we complained about this more than once. We're trying to watch a game. CBS is the dumbest frickin' carrier there is, having Nissan Xterra World Championships instead of football or whatever. And so when you're sitting there and going, I don't get to see a game between 2 decent teams because you slotted a couple of bad teams way back when trying to be fair. At a certain point, it's not funny anymore. If you're playing at 4 p.m, that game's going to be broadcast more likely than not. You got great odds there. So I'm not at all upset about this. I think it's a great idea. Who's really going to be saying, well, that's not fair to those terrible teams? Get better. Get better, and your games will be broadcast. Nobody's saying you got to sell out the stadium to have a great draft pick or anything like that. Just do your job, get the wins, and butts will be in the seat. That's it.
I look at it as a form of motivation for those fans that happen to be, your Browns fans, your Tennessee Titans fans, what have you, the teams that will probably be looking at getting bumped in this flex situation. I would take that as motivation. Push yourself farther as a human being so that you can afford the NFL Sunday ticket and then just watch whatever game you want all the time. If that doesn't work, learn how the internet works. It's 2015. You could probably find your game. I guarantee you can. I'm not going to give a tutorial on how to do that because from what I understand, the NFL may actually listen to anything I say. So with that,
very much.
With that being said, just understand that the internet exists. It's this amazing tool that you can use to pretty much do whatever you want all the time. So from the flex standpoint of the NFL, I think it's a great idea. If I was in charge of the NFL and I wanted to make money for the owners as Roger Goodell does, this is a great idea. You take the teams that people want to watch in the time slots you want to watch them and you put them in there. And then at the end of the year, you make your playoff implication games and you put them in prime time. Why? Because that makes money for everyone involved. Even the guys that aren't in the games, the owners that aren't in the games, they're still making money because they're NFL owners. So the ad revenues, the amount of flexibility this gives the league, I love it. And as far as the fans are concerned, listen, if you're concerned that you're not going to get to see your team because they're really bad, what I would suggest is go to the stadium and pay your $3 to watch your terrible team try against somebody that actually cares. Because if you're a Browns fan, I've been to Cleveland. I don't even, who else does the Browns have? I don't even know how to make that point. But my point is that the flex games are good for the NFL. They're good for all the teams involved, and they're good for the fans, as long as the fans can understand that not everybody wants to watch a week 14 Browns Titans game where they're both trying to get the number 1 pick. No one cares about that.
And also on top of that, just like you said, think about not just the playoff implications, but week to week, everybody's got that game where it's I only got so much time on Sunday. I'm only going to watch one game, and this is the game. Well, if that game happens at 1 p.m. Eastern time, you watch your game, and then you get on with your day. If it's the last game of the day, you got anticipation. You're watching those 1 o'clock games. You're watching those 4 o'clock games because you want to watch that primetime game and see this exciting football happening. If you have that whole thing of, let's see who wins and makes the playoffs. Oh, they did? All right, well, none of the other Week 17 games matter. Time to go do gardening. That's bad. Why do that? That's what your wife is for. Make her work. You watch football as a real man should. So that's why flex scheduling is great, to keep your wife outside doing work.
America.
All right, guys. Well, hey, we've actually got to wrap up here. We have gone way over time. We're closing on the hour.
We only did double what you thought it would be.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and wrap up. Thanks to Nick Wright, our producer. Does a lot of great work. And get him at SoundWright, sound-right.com. Thanks to our listeners. All of you are great. Thank you for downloading, tuning in, streaming in, however you want to classify it. We appreciate everything you do. And
check out the website, footballsamerica.com. Email us, team@footballsamerica.com, ron@footballsamerica.com, Kyle, Keil, in the true German, as it were, at footballsamerica.com. Not the whole Kyle, Keil, in the true German. That's not what it is, although we should work on that, Ron.
I'll see what I can do. Don't forget, you can also get us on Twitter at FBIA Podcast, on Facebook, facebook.com/footballisamerica podcast, Google +sign FBIA Podcast, Amazon.com link. Go there, check it out, use our search bar, help us out. Your proceeds go to helping our show. NatureBox, click our NatureBox link, get a bunch of good deals from them due to our participation in what it is that they do. audibletrial.com/footballisamerica. If you're driving around a lot and you're sick of listening to us, get a book. Listen to that. Otherwise, you're just listening to the radio, and nobody likes music anymore. It all sucks anyway. So
you could listen to Colin Cowherd spout his idiotic nonsense on ESPN. Wait, are we allowed to make fun of other people?
Sure are. Why not?
Hell yeah. By the way, Jim Rome is the worst thing that ever happened.
Thank you to our military. We appreciate everything you guys do. Come home safe. Thank you for participating and being a big part of our listenership. We do appreciate that.
If I could stop one thing, the Mongol Horde or Jim Rome, man, screw Jim Rome. That guy sucks.
Thank you to Scott for coming on today. Scott, thank you so much for joining us and kind of going over the schedule with us. We appreciate that. Check out his article, Football is America, Fans Are Global, on our website. Keep checking back to see his stuff there. He's going to be a big contributor to our site, probably putting an article up a week or so, Scott?
Yeah, if I don't find myself too busy not doing anything else, yeah, that it'll probably be about one article a week, I think.
Keep checking back for all of the extensive articles that we put up. By that, I mean, nothing is really that comprehensive. We'll have a bunch of fun notes, funny opinion, stuff like that in there. Well, that's it. We're done, guys. We're going to wrap it up. Scott, thanks. Kyle, try to be a better person, and everybody have a good night.
No, I'm not doing that. I don't want to.
It's been so real.
All right, good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Good
I have
night.
no desire to improve myself in any way, shape, or form. I'm not doing it for my wife. I'm not doing it for the listeners. They can all kiss my ass.
Good night.